Hi, in this video I'll be walking you through a print and cut using 3-point registration. The file that I'm using that's on the screen now is available in the Gazelle Owners Forum. You'll need to save that file to your computer and then open it in FunTime. Once you've got the file opened in FunTime, the first thing you need to do is go to the File menu, and in the File menu select the Print Setup option. In the print setup option, make sure that your printer is selected in the blue box. If it's not, click on the little drop down arrow and select it from the list. Of course, your list will be different than mine unless you happen to have the same printers I do. Once your printer is selected, click on the Properties button and adjust photo quality or better. Make sure that the correct paper is selected and the letter 8.5 by 11 size is also selected. I don't want print preview, so I'm going to turn that off. When all of these settings are okay, click on the OK button. This will bring you back to the print setup window. In this window, make sure that this box also says 8.5 by 11 and make sure the orientation is set to portrait. When all of these settings are correct, click on the OK button. Now also from the File menu, go down the list and select crop marks. And as you'll see, I have 3 crop marks added to my page. Once you've got the crop marks added, click on this printer icon at the top of the window, or from the File menu, select Print. I'm not going to do that right now. I've already printed the page right before I started the video, and I'm going to use that page. Otherwise, you're going to have all of my printer settings show up on the video, and I'm sure you don't want to see that. Once you've sent your page to the printer, let it finish printing, of course. Take it out of the printer and place it on your Gazelle cutting mat. Give me just a moment to switch cameras and I'll give you a walkthrough of that also. As you can see, the printed page is on my cutting mat and fed partway into my Gazelle. I'd like you to notice though that instead of placing the lower right corner of the paper all the way down in the lower right corner of the grid like we do for other cutting, I've moved my paper up and over 1 inch. Here's the corner of my paper, and you can see it's by the grid, it's been moved up and over 1 inch. Once you've got your paper on the cutting mat and fed into the machine, with the red light still on, press your align button to turn on the laser. See that little laser light there? I'm going to turn it off and then back on. See that little laser light? Once you've got the laser light on, push the mat into the machine and manually nudge the plotter head over gently so that your laser mark is on the paper. And you want to manually align that laser dot right to the tip of the paper. See that? The laser dot is right on the corner of the paper. Once you've got the laser positioned on the corner of the paper, reach up and turn the red light button off. My red light is off, but my laser is still on. Now that the red light is off, you can make any changes to the speed or force if needed. I'm just cutting typing paper or copy paper, so I want to leave my force on 1, and I'm going to put my speed on 2. See how the second light is lit up? Alright, once you've got everything like that, move over a little bit, come back over to my FunTime window, and I'm going to click on the Cut Project or Cut Craft button. If this little window pops up, don't think of it so much as a warning, think of it more as a reminder. It's just reminding you that there's a graphic on the page and that graphics need cut lines. I've already created the cut lines, so I'm just going to click on continue. And in the cutting control panel window here, you'll see exactly where the cut lines are and what shape they're going to cut. In the cutting control panel box, click on the print and cut button, and this will open up the print and cut registration window. Now, based on my calibration settings, I know that I need to adjust my laser offset a little bit. And for my particular calibration, I need to change my X to 0.48. Now, based on calibration, your numbers will probably different, so don't just automatically change yours to match mine because my calibration could be very different from your calibration. When you're ready to begin, you're going to use only these arrow buttons in the software to adjust the laser. And what we're going to do is adjust the laser to the first crop mark. The first crop mark is always the crop mark in the lower right corner of the paper, as you see in this diagram. Now, of course, this diagram is turned sideways, so just cock your head to the right and you'll see that this is actually the lower right corner of the cutting mat. This is the front of the machine over here. This back here is the back of the machine. Now, using only the arrow buttons in the software, do not manually move your mat or your plotter head. Using only these arrow buttons, start moving that laser over closer to the crop mark. Now I need to move my mat down a little bit, so I'll push the down arrow. Let me try to get adjusted on this so you can see it better. And I'm going to, now that I'm this real close to the crop mark, I'm going to click on the high precision button, and that will allow me to move, it'll cause the arrows to move the plotter head and the mat in much smaller increments. See how tiny that movement is? And without the high precision, see how big that is? With high precision, it's very small. So get the laser as close to the crop mark as possible and then click on the high precision button. And you want to be looking straight down at this laser and the crop mark so that you can get it centered. Get that adjusted. There we go. My webcam has autofocus, so that's why it keeps blurring in and out. There we go. Now with high precision selected, using only the arrow buttons, you want to make sure that that laser is right in the center of that crop mark. When you're sure the laser is centered to the crop mark, click on the next step button. When you click on the next step button, the software and the cutter will automatically move the cutting mat and position that laser real close to the second crop mark. The second crop mark is this one at the top right of the page. Now, still using only the arrow buttons in the software, fine-tune the adjustment of that laser. I'm sorry, that's kind of blurry. There's nothing I can do about it. Use only these arrow buttons, looking straight down at your laser. Get it right in the middle of that crop mark. Now I have old eyes, so I have to go back and forth with it a little bit to see better where I am. And instead of standing up and looking straight down at it right now like I should be, I'm looking at it the same way you are through the image on the screen. Once you've got that laser centered to the corner of the crop mark, again, click on the next step button and it'll automatically move to the third crop mark. The third crop mark is in the lower left corner of the page. Now look how close that third one is. It's just almost dead on. I'm trying to get this to focus so we can both see it better. I didn't realize it when I was recording the video, but my microphone came unplugged. So this part of the video, there was no audio, and I'm going back in editing process and adding audio to this part of the video. I might redo the video later. We'll see how it turns out for now. Once you've got your crop mark aligned to that third crop mark, click on the next step button and you'll be returned to the cutting control panel. Once you're back to the cutting control panel, click on the cut project button and the Gazelle will begin cutting the outline or the contour of your print and cut project. When it's finished cutting, the plotter head will return to the origin, and using the buttons on top of the machine, you'll turn on the red light if the camera focuses and gets to that point. There we go. Turn on the red light and use the feed buttons to bring the mat towards you out of the machine. Now I'm doing this one-handed. I'm trying to hold the camera with one hand and work with the other hand. So I left the top edge of my mat under the rollers for stability. This is one of the brand new Gazelle cutting mats that came in the latest shipment. The lines are thinner, the grid is more accurate, and the adhesive is absolutely perfect. So if you're ready for some new cutting mats, now is the time to get them. See how easily that came off? Getting the cut piece off takes a little bit more coordination when you're working with one hand. You'll see me fumble with it a little bit. I'm trying to lift it with one hand without damaging it. The mat wasn't overly sticky. I was just having difficulty doing it with one hand. My long fingernails didn't help any. They were getting in the way. That little centerpiece of the coffee mug handle is also cut out. Now how's that for print and cut? Isn't that just adorable?